Alright, here we are once again with another modern video in preparation for GP Bologna. After playing Infect, Blue-Green Infect and Absent Midrange, we are gonna try a combo deck now, which is Archangel Chord. I wanna point out that some of my teammates tried the Absent Aggro list, and they got very bad results. Sorry, they got very bad results with it. So, and pretty much because of the same because of the same reasons that we figure out with the absent mid range. It's not being, even though it's more proactive, it's really hard to keep up the pace of the Eldrazi decks, and that's something it's something that it wasn't working out. That deck, the Absent Aggro deck, was designed to beat the other mid-range decks, such as John and Absent, but since they are not actually being played at all, I don't think it's a viable. We don't think it's a viable strategy for that GP. So I'm recording these videos right after SCG Louisville, I believe, and where a bunch of Eldrazi decks made top 32, and the tournament was won by Affinity, but pretty much it was just Affinity and Eldrazi all over the top 32, especially the blue-white version, which has access to the Eldrazi Displacer and Path to Exile. So as for the deck, we wanted to try something unfair, such as sort of like Infect, which is not trying to play fair with your opponents, sort of. And we are gonna try this combo deck. This list made, I believe, A2 on the Pro Tour, but we've changed it some of the pieces. And essentially this deck is all about comboing out almost. It's just some acceleration with these 12 mana dorks, and pretty much is the pieces of the combo and some way to find them. Meanwhile, we have very few silver bullets to fight some problematic threats or problematic removal spells, and essentially that is the core of the deck. However, we have 4 Lingering Souls, either to buy time to find the pieces or to attack from another angle our opponent. Also, part of this B strategy is 4 copies of Gamini Township, which is really good when we run out of gas or we draw air. It's really good to have access to Gamini Township to become our mana dogs into threats. So as for the sideboard, we have obviously 3 Stony Silence to shut off the Affinity deck and some other random artifact-based deck, such as Lantern Control. We found out that Lantern Control is a very, very poor matchup for this deck, but we're gonna try to, if we face it, we're gonna try to win. 2 Worship, especially for the Eldrazi deck, but I can see boarding those ones in against other Core of Calling decks. Is one Canonist for especially for the Living End deck, because we don't have, besides Scavenging Ooze, we don't have a lot of graveyard hate. So it's nice to have access to some answers to living end. And also Burton Ford standard, especially for Pyroclasm type effects and for the border matchup. Then we have our anti-control cards, especially with Painful Truth and Thoughtseize. Also, Thoughtseizes come in against Eldrazi, especially if they, especially against the blue white version, because they have access to worship. We only have one answer to worship on the 75, so it's another way to avoid that card. Then we have Melia from the Infect matchup, which might be hard since we are short on removal spells. We only have 3 Path to Exile and 2 spell guides to prevent the pun spells. Then we have Scavenging Ooze. Initially, this Scavenging Ooze was on the main deck, but we decided to move it to the sideboard to give a slot for Mir Superior, which I think is very good against Eldrazi, and it's a good way to put pressure early on in the game. And then we have Sigarda against removal heavy decks, and that's pretty much it. I think this is a very good option, because as we saw on the top 32 on the SCG, there are very few lightning bolts, so our mana doors are more likely to survive, and that's pretty much fast mana that we can have access to accelerate our combo or our B plan. All right, let's jump to a modern league, and I'll see you in the round one.